actually here to discuss should we care about how white people view us. This is like straight off of a passionate conversation before we got started with the setup, you know what I mean? And we decided it could be an interesting topic. So I want to just start off, since you just came in, what do you think of that, yo? You think black people should care about how white people view them?
Well, before I say
sorry, should we give a little bit of background
I
first?
Think we should give
some background.
Right. G and I touched on this like a couple episodes ago when we were talking about, you know, how the media controls the perceptions of black people, and G feels very passionately about black people, our own people participating in cooning. And I challenge that, right? By asking that, you know, why is it that the first thought when you see, if you look at Love and Hip Hop, you look at reality show, your first thought is that they're cooning and they're doing this for white people. And then also, I also presented the idea that, look, like, white people are going to find something from our community to exploit regardless. I didn't even know that there was damn Marcus Garvey Air Forces now. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. That's fucking ridiculous.
I don't even like Nike. I want some now.
So
I'm about to cop some.
If we look at something that a group of black people are doing, and we say that it's cooning, isn't that a window to our thinking being socially engineered? That we're critiquing our own people by saying that they're cooning? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean.
So that's where the real effect comes from, and so G's point to saying, I mean, I may not be saying everything.
Yeah, well, for the record, I never even said Love and Hip Hop.
Well, I'm using an example.
I never said that.
Is it cooning though? Is it cooning?
No, it's not cooning.
It's not cooning.
Cooning is only when
you're coming at my man Peter Guns like that, man.
Excuse you. This is your first episode that you said. First of all.
Anyways, let's take it back to G.
You don't have words.
Queen and
back to G. What I was saying was pretty much, I challenge. Not necessarily white executives. I really challenge black executives, black writers, black directors, right? That typecast black people. And when they keep doing that, it's like, yo, you're perpetuating the narrative that is counterproductive for our community. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm like, why are they coming out with this type of show? This type of movie? You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember Fu one time, I was like, yo, I'm sick and tired of these slave movies. He has a good point. Why are they always coming out every 2 years with another slave movie? You know what I'm saying? It's for a reason. But this is all psychological. So it's like, to me, when I see that, I go, there was no benefit to releasing a 12 Years a Slave movie. It didn't even make sense. So it's like, why are they doing this? You see what I'm saying? It's like, yo, it plays into the psyche of black people. So it's like, to me, when I know that shit, I go, yo, fuck these niggas that are greenlighting these type of films. Precious, I felt, was the same way. Even The Color Purple, I don't like at all, because all of this shit says, like, yo, black people, we need to divide and have black women hating black men and vice versa. I'm not rocking with none of that shit. Now, reality is, there are certain black men who hate black women and black women that hate black men. However, it's like, as an educated person, a responsible person, out of all the projects you could come up with, why did you choose that particular project to release? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even see, like, how people go, as black people go, yeah, yo, we should do that project. The project where the grown man rapes the little black girl.
Oh, that's easy.
Fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, yo, that shit's reckless. Or, yo, the girl that hates herself and gets AIDS. Let's green light that shit.
But just to bring it back, you know, like, the question of, like, should we care what white people think of us comes from the perspective that you had about, like, white people looking at this and drawing these perceptions about black people based on, you know, what they see in the media.
Yep.
So my opinion, my perspective is, like, white people are going to look at anything that we do and find a way to exploit it. And then it will get to a point where black people are saying to other black people, you're cooning, you're perpetuating stereotypes about your own race. You know, you're feeding all of these, like, perceptions, like, negative perceptions of black people to white people. But white people are going to think that about you anyway. You could be the most well-cut, well-to-do black person, and you could still get called a nigger. You could still get called any and every derogatory name under the sun. So it doesn't necessarily have solely to do with your behaviors and the way that you move about in the world. Like, to me, I think that that's ridiculous.
Everybody in the room answer this. Are white people inherently evil?
Are white people inherently evil?
Like, they come out the womb, do you think they're just evil motherfuckers?
Yo, it's definitely.
Fresh out the
I feel
gate.
like it's
Answer
in
the
them to
question.
colonize.
Yo, answer, everybody just say yes or no, dog.
No,
You even gotta
no.
You
explain.
don't want an
No.
explanation. You just
Yo,
want.
I just want yes or no.
No.
So everyone
Nah.
says no.
This is to
yo,
set
hold
up
on, yo,
his-
fool, what about you? The
Um,
fact that fool's thinking about is crazy.
well, is it,
Yes or no, man?
mean,
I don't want no explanation. I just
because
want a yes or
there's
no.
all different types of white people.
All right,
so
we done.
So it's no.
So it's no. So the answer is no. So now, then we gotta ask ourselves, why do white people treat us this particular way?
They're
You know what I'm saying?
socially engineered too as well.
Bingo, there it
The same
goes.
way.
So then now, think about institutions, right, of politics, education, even like different industries where black people try to get employment. White people are basing the way they hire people, they vote for people, all that stuff, the way they treat you when you get pulled over. All of these things are from like their subconscious, right? Their mental Rolodex. Some white people probably didn't even grow up with any black folk. The only thing they seen was
BET,
television,
yeah.
was BET,
Right.
MTV.
If they
This
got
is
that.
their only. This
And
is
what
their
I said
leader.
to that before a few episodes ago is that, like, that is not my fucking problem. If you're that fucking stupid and you look at a show and you're like, this is how all black people
Yo,
act,
it doesn't
and
matter.
you use
It
those
doesn't
behaviors
matter.
and you
It
project
doesn't
that on
matter.
me,
It doesn't
that's
matter.
your fucking problem.
Hold on, listen,
No,
check this
so
out.
That's my point.
Here's a real direct
It's not,
question
and
for
it's
you.
not my
Hold on.
responsibility
That'll help you
to
out.
educate
Let me
you.
answer this though. Let me answer this though.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Let me answer it. It is our problem.
Thank you.
Here's the reason why. You know what I mean? For their same perceptions, we have those same failings. We have those same inherent failings of cognitive dissonance, right? If we didn't, there wouldn't be so many Christians. There wouldn't be so many Muslims.
Define.
Hold on, let me-
Wait,
let me-
no,
let
no.
me
I
get
just
to
want
it,
you.
let me
I
get
just
to
want you
it.
to define cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive. I'm gonna give you the classic definition. Hold on, I got the shit in the phone somewhere.
You want the food definition while he waiting?
Because what I think about is it like
Nah,
a
we don't
natural?
want
Is it
that in
a
the
natural
food bag.
disassociation
Huh?
with certain things?
It's like when you fail to realize what's in front of your face because you don't want to see
No, that's
it.
not cognitive dissonance.
I don't want the foologic
I'm gonna give it to
definition.
you right from Google.
No
Like,
offense.
yo,
Right
no
from Google.
offense.
It's
I
not
love
the full
food.
Hotepish
It's gonna say-
definition.
Right? Yeah. I don't
Yo,
want the.
it's all right.
I don't want the alkaline.
The
you know what
alkaline
I'm saying?
definition,
right.
yo.
Right.
You don't want the-
Check
you don't want the
I'm gonna
safety
give you the, I'm
definition.
gonna give
You
you
don't
the
want the
Google
real.
official. A state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavior, decisions, and
Because your
attitude
prejudices.
change with the presence of
Cognitive
So now-
dissonance.
Wrap up what you want to say, because I have a question for you.
All right, check this out. Check this out. It is. Because the reality of the situation is everybody is taught social standards. We all have barriers, right, that we need to get over. That's the reality of the situation. Everybody fails in that department. I
Yeah.
fail in that department. Everybody in this room fails in that department because of the state where we're at, right? Period. Because of the state of the world, everything. The reality of the situation is each one teach one doesn't even work because of how much shit we get, right? I'll give you a prime example. I was talking to Rome yesterday. What do you picture when you see Afghanistan? What'd you say? Desert.
Oh, the desert.
Desert,
blah, blah,
right?
yeah.
Yo, check this out. Afghanistan has the same climate temperature as Boston. It's actually grassy fields in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is classically known to have mountains. One of the reasons why is because Russia tried to come through one time. They had tanks. The tanks didn't aim up. They couldn't get shit done and shoot nobody, right? Obviously, we've advanced in warfare from there. But because of the images we get through the filters we get through the media and the news, anything that you could find, everybody thought Afghanistan was fucking desert, right? Hold up, right? So, this is the case for the majority of the population. And even an educated brother like Rome thought desert. Even an educated brother like Rome made that mistake, right? So we all have those failings. So yes, it is our responsibility, just like it's your it's our responsibility to keep every human being as the brother, as the sister of mankind and humanity. Yes, it's
Now,
each individual's responsibility.
Before you go, I have to ask you this question. Do you think that all these police killings that you see, do you think that the reason for that is because of what they see in the media?
No.
Nah, you see,
No. That's the question I asked them, and I want them to answer.
But
No.
that's too simplistic, bro. Come on.
I'm gonna tell
man.
you. I'm gonna tell you no. I'm gonna tell you one. The police have a whole level of institutionalization that just exists in a different level of format, right? Almost having nothing to do with racism, almost having absolutely everything to do with the power dynamic. The police are trained, right, to see people on a level that's less than them, right? If you look at like how police are trained, they're always trained to come into the situation as an aggressor, right? Now, are we picked out in a population? Are we, categorized? Yeah, well, of course. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's obvious. That's been since time immemorial, since this country was created, right? You can't get away from that. But the police are a whole beast on its own, because there's poor white people that get treated like shit by the police too. Horribly, right? But they're in their own minds too. So, these institutions play on that. So they'll send Spanish cops, Latin cops to go talk to the trashy white people or black cops. So they play on that. You feel me? And there's these institutional barriers. Now, am I saying racism isn't something that decisions are made upon and isn't something we got to deal with every day? No. But what I am saying is we exist in a world where classism is really the main focus that we should be looking at, where this social divide that is created by the economy is something that we really need to focus on, because right now we're seeing the advent of different classes of citizens being created, and eventually those will be categorized. In the future from now, we're gonna see in America people literally in categories of what type of citizen you are, based on your economic performance or where you sit within that scale.
Wow, that sounds very socialistic.
Not really.
Well, can I ask you something?
Sounds like 1984.
Because she has some.
So every thought that you've had, every
Orwellian
generalization or assumption, have you acted on that thought?
I mean, I have generalizations and thoughts about tacos. And
I guess my point to say is that, when you were talking about Rome and his thoughts about Afghanistan, that's a common perception that people would have. But what you do in between the time that you have that thought and you say something dumb and ignorant is that you stop yourself and you ask the questions before you act.
But that's the filter. Do you recognize that it's dumb and ignorant, right?
That's true.
That's the issue. Now I try my best to work that.
And I fail at that all the time.
Exactly. I fail at that all the time.
But we have conversations. Yeah. We're all in here very well aware of the media machine. So, in my day to day when I have these generalizations, because everybody has those thoughts all the time. If you see certain things, hear certain things, you're gonna say something really wild and disrespectful in your head that you wouldn't say out loud. That you would have the sense not to know that you would have the sense. Let me say this. You would have the sense not to say out loud. So with that, and if you have that understanding that there's media machines that operate with the intentions of you having negative perceptions against people, then you fucking stop yourself from saying something fucking stupid, and that's that.
That's easier said than done.
But it is done.
Let me say this.
But it is done.
Let me say this and boil it down to this: lies are meant to be believed. That's the design of a lie. The truth just exists. You don't have to believe in the truth. There's nobody out here telling you gotta believe in the truth. It just exists. It's something you just, and I'm not talking about perspective truths. I'm not talking about is it right or wrong to do something like that? What is the good of good? What is the bad of bad? No, I'm talking about water's wet. You know what I mean? Water's wet. You know what I mean? What are you going to do with that?
Oh, yeah.
You can believe it's wet or not. You can believe it's wet or not. That has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? That has to do with your belief system and values, right? Your social indoctrination. Now, can you break those filters down? Yeah. But that goes all the way to your core. You know what I mean? Think about it on this level. We're socialized from birth. You believe in Santa Claus. Then Santa Claus isn't real. Easter Bunny's not real. Tooth Fairy's not real. But our cognitive dissonance will hold on to the fact that God's real. All right, then maybe you read some things. And you're like, all right, God's not real. But I got this new thing, spirituality. My energy and my vibrations are in focus, right? That's another level of cognitive dissonance. And I'm not throwing those people under the bus.
Watch your mouth, dog.
Check out, right?
No, y'all know what? I'm always intrigued by atheistic
I'm not
thinking.
throwing those people under the bus, right? Because I do think there is something to metaphysics. I do think there are questions that aren't answered that we might not have the answer to on a linear way we experience life and existence, right? What I am saying is that if there's a school of thought, where did that come from? Find the root of that. Then study the root of that. Does that hold base with you? Does that relate to you? Does that relate to you? Right? If it doesn't relate to you, then find out why. You know what I mean? A lot of people like flat Earth. I hate the whole idea of flat Earth.
Oh, your fool about to explode
yo,
right
listen,
now.
No, I'm chilling.
Listen, who is a flat earther? Watch your mouth.
The antenna's going up.
We were talking about cognitive dissonance.
Is all the way out.
We're just talking about cognitive dissonance.
Listen.
Your eyes, if your eyes don't tell you the truth, then I don't know.
Let me get the villain in.
That's what's up. Yo. I mean, basic particle movement. Basic physics that you could read in a book, like, sort of disproves the Earth is flat. You know what I mean? You look out upon the universe with a telescope. You don't have to trust images from NASA. Look out with a telescope and tell me what else exists like that. The universe, if you believe in energy imbalance, the universe exists.
So getting back,
wait, audience, if y'all can see Fool's face right now.
So listen. So
I mean,
all of that being said, right? All of that being said,
yes.
all of that being said, at the end of the day, you just gotta move with your best intention and how you are gonna live your life.
Now, can
because
other
there's
people?
no real empirical data unless you experience it yourself.
Yes.
Period. Me and G got some shared beliefs that are probably absolutely wrong. You know what I mean? I give you one right now. I'm a butcher, right? I'm a butcher, right? I'm a butcher, and I always hear people say, "Oh, pig's a dirty animal." Like, well, and they're like, it does this and that and that. We don't produce that many pigs in the United States. I mean, we produce a lot, right? Excuse me, but not more than chickens and not more than cows, right? Now, if you're in the mass production, there's really no way for you to be as sanitary as possible.
Yeah.
So whatever is being produced less, more than likely, is a little bit cleaner. If you've seen the way like chickens are raised, it's amazing. It'll change your life. Cows, same thing. Pigs, they actually get their own little barn.
Right.
You know what I mean? They definitely clean, and they definitely clean it in. Some of the way some other things are mass produced, right? So that's a shared belief that people have, right? And that even goes back to religion and indoctrination, right? Because things in our social standard have to be in place, and you have to believe them, right? And so one of the ways you believe something without a question is if there's some sort of grand existential burden for you to believe that shit. Yo, God says you're wrong if you do this. Yo, the reason why the devil made me do that, right? But I can get forgiveness in God's eyes if I do this. Instead of taking the responsibility on yourself, right? Right? But that's the way institutions move people, because they understand the vox populi, right, needs something to make it move. So I'm going to make up all of these rules and ideas, put a belief system behind it, tell you that you get some cake at the end of it, right? And you're going to do it for the cake because you believe in the idea and the image.
You got G reconsidering Ford right now.
But G also believes that when we talk about negative perceptions, by way of the media about black people, that what black people can do is that we can educate white people and say, no. Basically, those perceptions are wrong because of XYZ. That it's not maybe necessarily our responsibility. Tell me if I'm right or wrong.
So far you right. I'll add on when you done.
Right. So that basically, to a degree, it's our responsibility to kind of help white people unlearn and relearn where the perceptions are, what they're, what the negative stereotypes are, where they got it wrong. I believe, why is that my responsibility?
All right, simple. I'll say this, right? We have brothers, right, that believe black women ain't shit. They don't even acknowledge them. They call them females or bitches, right?
So don't date them.
Hold on. But walk with me on this.
It's that simple.
You could do that. However, there's a large population of brothers who think like this, who are most likely going to teach their sons and their nephews and their brothers or their boys or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And that type of information and that type of belief system spreads. However, if you and other sisters and other brothers say, yo, bros, that ain't right. Yo, we got to stop this. Yo, look at sisters as equals, or, you know, show them respect, this, that, and the third. Yo, they're not there just to be our footstools or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That is educating those brothers. You could easily say, yo, that's not my fight. Who gives a fuck? But then nothing changes.
Yeah.
So how I look at white people is, I know that they've been conditioned to think this way. And the only way I could change society is if I step up and other people around me step up and say, yo, you're white boy, you're wrong.
That sounds, you know,
like,
to me, like, you know, I really do respect your opinions on this, but it honestly sounds like you're trying to spoon feed white people.
Nah, it ain't about spoon.
That's what it sounds like.
Hold on.
Because you know what? There are other white people who are just as astute, if not more.
One last point. I got one last point. Hold on. Let me explain.
There are white people who are just as astute, if not more, about these issues, about these social justice issues. So why aren't those white people? Why isn't it the responsibility of those white people to talk to those white people? Hold on,
but they do. Like, there are the Tim Wises out here, right? That are actually white people who are aware of social injustices that go out and educate other whites.
Y'all remember the White Panthers?
Yeah, exactly. But hold on, I got one thing that I have to explain, right? You guys assume that white supremacy only negatively affects blacks, right? It also negatively affects whites. Everyone is affected by this. Oh, yeah. So now, as white people believe in this false sense of white superiority, right? And this would be like the poorest of poor white boys, like the trailer park trashes, this and the third. Because they have that belief, they're okay with the 1% treating them like shit. Because they believe in this falsified sense of, well, at least I'm better than black people. When you're in the same fucking situation, the same condition. Right? But now look at the polar opposite, and some are even worse. But now look at the flip side on black people. Black people literally adopt black inferiority. They develop a black inferiority complex. So you could easily say, like, yo, it's not our fight to fight white supremacy. This should just be white folk. However, it affects all of us. So it's like all of us should be on that fight. We should all be like, yo, squad up. We going to war. But I get it. Some people ain't built for that life. Some people are, and so the ones that
was
are
shade.
No, it's not.
It's not about being built.
No, it's not about being built for.
That's how G talk. He's like, yo, if you ain't got
you got a phone in your back pocket.
Guys, hang on.
No.
Let me let the. Did you finish your point?
No, she just cut me off. You know what I'm saying?
I simply said it was shade. I was simply saying it was shade.
Go ahead.
It's not shade. It's not shade. You know, I'm probably not close enough to the mic.
There you go.
It's not shade. I think what G's talking about more is along the lines of how your thoughts are structured, right? But instead of him saying thoughts are structured, he said how you're built, right? Because that's just the way the brother communicates, right? Now, I agree with him on that level because the reality of the situation at the end of the day, if we don't take the responsibility as mankind, as womankind, as human beings, to move forward together, then we gonna lose the fight. And when I say lose the fight, I'm not talking about racism. I'm not talking about classism. I'm talking about the earth just dying. You know what I mean? Or us as a people dying, right? So, is it your responsibility? No, it's not, right? No, it's not. In that definition, right? In that definition as you taking an interpersonal look at something. But, yo, Rome eats some food and puts a dish in the sink and you decide to clean it. Was it your responsibility to clean the dish? No, it was his. You decided to do that. Some may say I was misogynistic for making that analogy.
No. I see exactly what you're saying.
If you say that, kick rocks. But listen, if you put your shoes in the middle of the living room and Rome decides to grab them and put them wherever they're supposed to be, then that's, wasn't his responsibility, it was yours. And that's because there's a shared love and bond there, right? That same shared love and bond needs to exist with the rest of humanity. And I think that's what G's trying to get to. But if you're not built for that, if that's not where your thought process is, then by all means do you.
Okay. And now if I could pose something, right? Let's say you got a roommate and you eat and you put a dish in the sink and your roommate is like, okay, bet, I'll clean that dish. But then you're doing that every goddamn day, right? Every day they eat, put the dish in the sink, and you're cleaning it. You don't think at some point
you need to have a conversation with your roommate.
You don't think at some point,
that's not what we're doing.
Listen, but then you still need to have a conversation with your roommate.
But do you really
about
think that after
what needs to happen as far as responsibility gets down? But even then, we're still talking about the same thing,
right?
Because you're talking about accountability, right? You're talking about holding somebody accountable, and the only way you do that is starting the communication. Right, and the only way you get through that is by both of y'all understanding what's going on. Right, you might be like, "Yo, this person's a little bit privileged over here with their liberal sink usage of dirty dishes
and whatnot."
Right, and whatnot.
But how many conversations?
Let me put you in the pocket real quick and talk to you for a second about your dirty dish situation, bro. Now. But even again, that's a perfect analogy because we all in this one, 2-room apartment called Earth. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we all need to be accountable to each other in each other's space and common areas.
I love this kumbaya shit.
So,
I don't believe it, though. I'm just saying, really.
I'm saying the reality situation is this, right? Think about it like this, right? Think about a larger scale, right? We've been 6 to 5 years out from renewable resources within a year, right? Carbon emissions are at their highest we've ever seen it. Forget about global warming. Just breathing is an issue, right? We've seen climate changes to where islands have disappeared, right?
The Maldives are disappearing.
We're talking about natural resources that we use to sustain ourselves as human beings not existing, right? Forget about like kumbaya or let's all eat organic and soybeans routine, right? If we don't get to some common ground, what's going to happen when resource partitioning kicks in?
They going to Mars.
They're going to Mars, right? We only know how to
get away from Mars.
It's interesting that you listen. It's interesting. Let me say this. It's interesting that you bring that up, right? Because would they be the ones going to Mars to terraform the planet, or would they send the poor people there first to do the work?
You already know.
Gentrification is a really dope idea in the fact that it's urban development en masse. They send poor people into a place, they build that place up, they bring culture and resources, then they get sent out when the rent's too high, right? So let's talk about resource partitioning. What happens when the resources are depleted? Who gets what's left of the resources? Yo, the poor white people's in the same boat we are.
Who's the owners?
Yo, the poor, you know what I mean? So it's people who have the money and resources already that are going to get to benefit from that. We're actually seeing that in the rest of the world now. We're not feeling it as Americans because we got this great thing called American privilege. Poorest man in America is one of the richest men in the world. Period.
Got you.
Period.
All right.
So
go ahead.
Let me just close this up.
Yeah, close it up.
So there are places that are called green zones in the rest of the world, right? Like in Iraq, where Iraqis aren't allowed into the green zones. Yo, bro, it's Iraq. Why can't an Iraqi walk anywhere in Iraq? It's not just Iraq. It's everywhere, right? So we're already seeing it, but we're like, yo, that's not over here. That's not over here. That's a part of that personal responsibility and accountability. Yo, that's coming here. It's being tested out there. Yo, we've seen it with gentrification. There's places you can't walk in your neighborhood without getting harassed, right? So think about it like that. If we don't get on board, if we don't get on this boat, we're communicating with each other the right way, there ain't going to be no boat to get on.
Got you. All right. I hear that. Well, listen.
Yo, respect, yo.
Listen.
Niggas ain't challenged that.
Whatever, G, you was rolling your eyes when he was talking earlier.
You know what it is?
Well, listen, I gotta wrap up.
You know what it is?
I just gotta wrap.
It's colorism. It's colorism.
It's
Dark skin.
That's exactly what it is.
She had to hear it from a light skinned nigga. That's what she had to hear it from.
I had to my light skin ally to school, yo, son.
I gotta wrap.
He gonna wait to throw that Uno card.
I just gotta close this one out, yo. I just gotta close this one out. What up? I just gotta close this one out.
I don't even believe in that word, colorism.
Light skin.
Listen. We're going to continue this next week for sure. All right. So that was episode 28. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you go to the website, upanicd.com, upanicd. Scroll down to you see join the convo. Make sure you subscribe, like, share. Make sure you jump in them comments. Let us know what you think. All right. We want to hear your thoughts. All right. We're not just up here talking to talk. We're trying to start a real conversation. So we really want to know what you think. Comment on the website, comment on YouTube, or let us know what you think anywhere. Make sure you do your podcast. But that's it. It's You Panic. It's You Panic. Talk to y'all next week.
Yeah, yeah, cloud of vision, man on the mission. Hennessy sipping, never slipping, herbal I'm twisting. Getting missing on the mins that be on for the pitch. And I always kept it pimping, women want to kiss on my dimples. It's the god, bitch, now your ass stuck in the pickle. This shit is simple, step between me and my chips, you get pistol whipped. Feel the coast still, I bet your ass will get missing quick. I ain't dealing with you fruits, I have you dipping like Miracle Whip. The slick nigga, down to get the figure, spitting flips since I was 10, grown up and got sicker. Fucking up the game, pussy, did you get the picture? I ain't stopping this beating until a nigga get blisters. They know me though, don't step up on my sneaks, bro. You'll peep my arch from the line, the way I bang my free throw. All about a C note, the G code, this weed smoke, that we smoke got me choking. Open up them doors, let the money flow in. A real nigga never switched on my kin. I been cooking no pots and pans. Don't need to know every plot and plan. I got the power cause the world in my hands. God.